The Strip,
downtown,
the desert,
the heat,
the water shortage.
the crime.
After being born and raised in Southern California and seeing most of the United States, I decided to get married. And after 17 years, my perspective of this city has certainly changed. But like most Southern Californians, I had to work through so many stereotypes and negativities. Join me as my wife and business partner go through the conversation of how we went from, or I should say, how I went from, why Vegas to,
Why not Vegas?
Lex, take it away. This is episode 29 of the Move It podcast here at the 5 Diamond Group at Vice Realty. My name is Jared Urain, and I want to thank you so much for tuning in. In this particular episode, we're going to cover some of the key reasons why Las Vegas is really one of the best places to consider living. We are titling this episode, Why Not Vegas? And this is Gabriella McCall, my wife and business partner. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And for reference, business partner because I am a broker realtor here at Vice Realty, and we make sure that our clients get the right information the first time and get the tools that they need to help close their transaction the first time, not in a terrible experience. And that is why we are partnered with Scott Reynolds over at Evergreen Home Loans as she is one of his loan officers. But let's get started. Here are 4 top reasons why Las Vegas is really considered one of the best places to live, even in today's financial climate. Number 1, the low cost of living. Number 2, the local culinary and world-class entertainment scene is hands down unparalleled.
Number 1.
That you call that number 1. All right. Number 3, the strong community and municipal infrastructure that they are planning here in this city is really unrivaled compared to many other cities. And number 4, sunsets and weather. They make that one of the negative items. I dare you to consider another place that's really as awesome as this. Let's get started. 2006, what happened?
We decided to live in Las Vegas.
Well, actually, you decided to live in Las Vegas in 2005,
Sure.
but we decided to live in Las Vegas together as a couple because...
I decided to invite you to Las Vegas.
Yes,
So
because
we bought a
got
house
married.
and
Yes.
we got married.
And what was most interesting at that time is I told you, let's buy a house. I didn't want to rent. I didn't want to do anything else. I said buy. Even though we knew at the time it was a pretty challenging market to work with.
Probably the worst time. Yeah.
One of the, in fact,
In that moment, it was the worst time.
no, and in fact, GLVAR supports that data because in 2006, when we closed on our house, we paid $263 for that 3-bedroom, 2-bath that needed a complete rehab. And that was actually one of the funnest experiences that we had as a couple going together. But in historical context, GLVAR puts the peak of the market at in June of 2006 with a median price point in Las Vegas at $315,000. So we weren't too far off from there. We had a home that was built in 1969, beautiful size.
1967?
69, I think it was, yeah, somewhere in there. 67 for sure. And it had a huge lot, 10,000 square feet, nice massive pool. We really had a great time, and while our mortgage was pretty normal in those days, we also had, what was our rate, do you remember?
Yeah, we were, what was it, 6.7 or 7.6?
Wow, that's even better than it is today, isn't it? Flashback, hello.
And we had
normal.
a second.
And we did have a second, yeah. Now we did have an amazing experience in that house. We did enjoy all of our time there, but because of the timing that we had purchased in, we use that as a great example as to why A, Las Vegas is a great place to live, and B, it's never a bad time to buy real estate.
Yeah.
Because when we did buy it,
If it works for you, it's a good time.
it's a good time.
Yeah.
And in fact, for those the entire time that we lived in that house, we not only could afford it, but we had a good time with where we were at. It was really one of our good memories in life, especially. That's where our firstborn was. Well, he spent the first couple spent the first couple months in his house until we had to move. But if you followed the trend in 2012, we ended up selling that house for less than $100,000, which was a massive depreciation. And yeah, it kind of sucked going through a short sale, but that doesn't mean it was the end of the ball game, because at that point we ended up buying another house with family at $99,000, which in that timing was really fantastic, and that helped kind of reset everything and start from scratch. And that's why in real estate, you can use real estate in a good way, regardless of the timing, including rates. It's not a bad time, like you say, it's important to.
Yeah, if it works for you, it's always a good time.
It's always a good time. Consider your situation, get professional input, and navigate the course accordingly. But when it comes to the cost of living in Las Vegas, it really is unrivaled. Compared to any of the surrounding states, we have the best local cost of living, transportation costs, food costs, gas costs. Really doesn't matter how you price it. We are always going to be about $1 better than California. You add to the fact that there's no state tax, and that just even increases your affordability here in Las Vegas. And so what can you do with all of that? Well, if you were to put it in reference to Nerd Wallet quotes San Francisco as 83% higher to live in San Francisco than it would be here in Las Vegas. Phoenix is 11% higher, and we have better weather. I just don't get why people do that. But if you are in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area, you're paying 40% more just to live in that area as opposed to being in here in Las Vegas. So cost of living, hands down, is one of the best decisions to make a move here.
I agree. 100%.
So as a result of the savings that you can get, which we experienced, being able to save a lot more money, what happens with that money? Well, we have actually some of the best costs to travel. Specifically, what kind of travel?
Air travel?
Air travel, international travel. I mean, when I lived here the first 5 years, I needed to be by an airport because my clients were all over the country. So the proximity was really, really well designed. But more importantly, we have 4 discount airlines here: Spirit, Frontier, Allegiant, and Southwest, all as a base and a hub here. Which means you can pick a destination, throw a dart on the map, pick a target, and you're probably going to get a good deal. And if you start listening to some of her input, she'll get you an even better deal, especially with points.
Amazing deals. Las Vegas is just a great hub to fly out of. We've flown to Boston for $25 round trip. We did
Florida.
Florida for
we
$50
traveled 5
trip.
people round trip to Florida for how much?
15.
Under $100, $93 total with tax. Insanity. Yes, you heard that. $93.
We even booked New York one time for $11.
Yeah, that was kind of that. We did something else after that.
It's cheaper to fly than it is to drive to the other side of town.
It is. In fact, there have been many instances since much of my family is still in California that I need to make a trip out there, and because gas prices are $5-6 a gallon, especially when you get there, it is actually cheaper to fly there and have someone pick you up and enjoy the time. And you can do that for a day trip or an overnight trip, which is absolutely no-brainer. 45-minute flight, come on. It just makes it a smart move in many of those instances. Yeah.
The travel part, international, there's our international airport is expanding more and more, where we can fly direct to Asia, to Europe, to Mexico, to different parts of it. It's like non-stop direct flights now, so that's exciting.
Isn't it? Yeah. I love it. I love it. And that comes to part 2. Why not Las Vegas? The local culinary and world-class entertainment scene is really unrivaled in so many different ways. You're living in LA, you're living in San Francisco, you're heading downtown, you've got a lot of cool options. You're living in New York and Chicago, you can head down to any one of those areas and districts, but there's still going to be a lot of challenges and costs involved. Las Vegas has the tightest concentration of Michelin star rated restaurants, food experiences, events, hotels, you name it, man. It's all within 20 minutes of each other. And when it comes to the food itself, not just on the strip, you don't have to do the strip to get these experiences, because many of the chefs, as well as the workers that are in there, open up their own shops along the rest of the surrounding cities. Southwest, Henderson, Summerlin, anywhere in between Spring Mountain and Chinatown. You're gonna have some really awesome choices that are just great prices, and your experience is going to be hands down one of the best. Yeah. One of the reasons is because the casinos demand all of this food and resources to be flown in fresh. And in fact, one of the key things that changed my opinion about this city was the grade of sushi. Growing up in Southern California, traveling the country, being able to experience a variety of different places and their styles, I was under the impression that if you're closer to the coast, you should have fresh fish. But we've had some of the best sushi here in Las Vegas, and that's really good.
The closest thing we've had to Japan has been in the desert in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Not in the coast,
That's
not
right.
in New York, not in San Francisco. Definitely not in Texas
Or Arkansas.
or Arkansas.
But yes, that is an absolutely true statement, and that's the beautiful benefit of being able to be so close to the demands that the casinos bring to the table. You add to the experience of entertainment. I mean, the entertainment capital of the world, I think it's called here, and that's not just shows. We're talking world-class sporting events. We're talking about all sorts of festivals that happen here. I mean, there's a list that we could just spend 10 minutes on, just listing all of them. Think about all the people that want to be here to be able to experience the city itself or the strip or any of these events that are happening. There's always interaction with celebrities and local activities. Skiing. How about surfing? Did you hear me? Surfing. We're going to elaborate a little bit further on all of these different topics as we go through the rest of this month, but we're just giving you kind of an overview and a highlight of what some of these things are to think about. What are some of the festivals and events that you remember going to?
That I remember. My favorites are always the food festivals. Some of the best, all the best chefs will get together, give you their best plates, and then for a small fraction, it's like all you can eat, try all the drinks and foods and desserts on a fun night. And yeah, they do those at least 5 times a year.
It's one of the best date nights that you can have, because you don't have to be at a specific restaurant, and you get to taste anything and everything that you want, and you get to do it with your friends, and then go home and sleep in your own bed. It's pretty awesome. Or go to a hotel if you want. It's
go to a hotel that's hosting
whichever way you want, man.
So you could get some of the best hotels worldwide for the best prices.
So if you are a foodie and if you enjoy new experiences, this is absolutely the place to be, because not only is the city, or has the city, been growing, but the growth is going to continue as we continue to move on in time. So between the foodies, the beers, all of the spirits and cocktail mixologists are just really just phenomenal. As far as the entertainment goes. Smaller community festivals, things like the Pirate Fest, Tacos and Tamales, the weekly summer concert series downtown. Summerlin is hosting their own version of all of these things. Water Street down in Henderson has a variety of their own things. Every part of this town has their own community version, not to mention well over a couple of dozen different farmers markets throughout the city. We have several farms nearby, and local fresh produce is actually localized on many of these things, and we have the joy of having our own little mini urban farm. So there's places where you can either experience the freshness of the food or grow it yourself if you get a piece of land, which there's still a lot available here in town.
Back to the entertainment. Where else? I'm sure there's a few places, but where else can you often get a phone call from somebody who works in the industry, hospitality? Hey, there's some extra seats for, you name it. Or even better, the story you told me about Lex. You're just out on a town working at night, and all of a sudden you have a surprise.
Oh, yeah.
Surprise! There's who? Surprise show for free in front of you, just like all of a sudden.
You want to jump in here, Lex, and tell us that story?
Sure. And then we were walking, and then one of the streets were closed. We wanted to go there and see what was happening, and then someone told us that YouTube was going to be recording a music video.
That's amazing, right?
So we just stayed there, and yeah.
So you saw U2 and you did not pay $500 or $1,000
And
to
he was just talking.
It was just
since
a free show.
Since it was a music video recording, and between takes, they were just talking. He was talking to us, just chilling there. And
Nice. Yeah.
amazing.
And yeah, that's a perfect example of how you just out on the town, you're doing something random and normal, and surprises like that come up. Now, of course, they had some soft announcement, but the fact is that things happen. Things happen in the city, and there's a lot of things going on that if you really want to be a part of, you can absolutely get tied in and dialed into that things. How many shows have we been to that we've seen on the strip? I don't think we've paid for any of them. Well, it's nice knowing some folks in there, right? Yeah. But I mean, that's part of being able to grow and know who runs some of these events and so forth. So, but yeah, I mean, geez, Rod Stewart, Cher, Celine Dion, Katy Perry, there you go.
Bruno Mars.
Right.
I mean, we've seen
all
lots.
Yeah, and there's ones that you want to pay for and you want to go and see, and you just, like we saw Diana Krall at the Smith Center. Smith Center, by the way, being one of the key performance venues. Totally recommend. that section of the entertainment on it. Anything else?
Lots of things.
Lots of things. Too many, but we'll dive deeper as we get into the next few episodes. Number 3, a strong community and municipal infrastructure. Now, this is something that I'm really passionate about because I do volunteering over at the prison, but when you think about the city itself and really how it's built, most of the city planners have to prepare for certain events. And the city of Las Vegas has done a really good job, not just in preparing for the growth of this city, but also for what we call the 100-year flood. It's an event that does happen for, every 100 years or so. We're slightly overdue, but they've been preparing for this based on how they've been designing the freeways, the flood channels, and everything else. This past round of rains kind of showed how well they've designed those things, because while you might have heard the negative news about flooding and so forth, it really wasn't damaging any properties. It was just channeling water, which is what it's supposed to do. You add to that water conservation. That's really something that's been a hot topic over the last few years because of the drop in Lake Mead. But you got to keep in mind, Las Vegas isn't consuming that much water. The reason why Lake Mead is dropping is because it's being shared by multiple states. We only get 10% or so of that water that's coming out of Lake Mead. And we do have aquifers and wells, and we do have credits that are shared amongst the city. But that just goes to show and highlight that the Southern Nevada Water Authority has done a fantastic job in preparing this area for growth as well as the usage of water, which I am grateful for, because we know that they are preparing for that scale. And then you add to the multiple social benefits that are available, as well as community events that they've really designed here in the city. You've got the state welfare services, a lot of local services for people that are in challenged and distressed situations, and there is even efforts to build a homeless camp and help people that get out of the underground cities that they've developed there. So there are many efforts in different parts of the city to help people in a challenged situation get out of their situation and build their lives better. That takes us to number 4, sunsets and the weather.
Always consistent.
And
we're always prepared.
How hot was it this year?
You know what? It doesn't matter because I had air conditioner. So I'll take 110 in Vegas with air conditioner over 99 in Seattle with no air conditioner.
Even Southern California, and
Yeah.
its humidity in there, it gets sticky, and many homes don't really have good air conditioning in there anyways.
Yeah.
And you get around to being stuck in the car because you're stuck in traffic, and hopefully your air conditioning works in there too.
Yeah, and you expect it to be hot, so you're prepared. You make sure your air conditioner is working, that you have one, and
so to put it down to nuts and bolts, the average temperature in the summertime is 104 degrees. That's actually bearable. When it's 100 degrees, it's not that bad. You can still go outside and do some. I still play football with my boys outside at 100 degrees. It's when it gets to 108 or more is when we've got to deal with cooling down the chickens and making sure that everybody's cooled off. One of my key contingencies for the first 5 years was we had to have a pool, because it's good. You got a pool, it's more of a resort life that you're having here, and it's even better experience that you can have.
Now we just use water guns.
Now we just hose each other down.
Because we don't have a pool. Now we call our friends with pools.
Right? Yeah, and I mean, that's that again, the resort life. You get to go and hang out with your friends and stuff. I can't emphasize how beautiful some of the sunsets are here. While you might be on the coast, or you might be at the beach, you only get that when you're there. Here, the mountain line gives everybody a chance to have an amazing sunset experience. You can just walk outside and take a look at that, and it's just really one of those moments of the day where you can express gratitude and be happy with what's going on. It's just another day that's complete, and it's really, really amazing. As she mentioned, air conditioning is everywhere. That's kind of a part of a requirement that lives here, and so anywhere that you go will always be cool, like a butterfly. Ah, gotcha.
Oh dear.
Oh yeah. So those are some of the key highlights that we have here on this particular episode, and this next series of videos that we do for the next month and a half, 2 months, are going to be why not Vegas? We're going to drill down even further as to what makes Vegas an attractive place to live. We're going to highlight key areas, and as we proceed, we're also going to highlight different communities that really should be considered if you're thinking about moving in. Either you're from out of state or you're moving across town, one way or another. I hope these videos are going to be informative and helpful for you in making a search as to why Vegas is one of the places you need to consider. Stick with us as we go through the rest of this year in exploring Why Not Vegas? My name is Jared Urain.
Gabby McCall.
With Evergreen Home Loans. I'm with Vice Realty. Want to thank you so much for tuning in to episode 29 of Why Not Vegas here at the Move It podcast at Vice Realty. If you like this, of course, please be sure to thumbs up, share it if you could, please, and more importantly, subscribe. We'd love to see you in the next episode. And if you have some feedback, we'd love to hear what you have to contribute, what you'd like to hear. I'd love to answer it for you. That does it for this one. My name is Jared. Have a wonderful day, and don't forget, like the air conditionings in Las Vegas,
No.
be cool like a butterfly.